guys, it's WooGs here again. Um, Doing the fifth character, I guess now, which is Barbarian. Kind of, well, fifth was supposed to be Sork, but I was waiting on some items. I think she's kind of ready now. But I went ahead with Barb. I didn't want to do Zerk Barb. I kind of wanted to do something different with Throw Barb. You know, some other people had done Throw Barb, of course, but I kind of wanted to try it. I had never really played that much Throw aside from testing Pluggy before for somebody else, but this was kind of my attempt at that. I thought it'd be much more cool than doing Zerk, because we've seen a lot of Zerk kills, and that's I don't know. I like to do something a bit more interesting usually with my kills. Well, where possible. Some classes you don't really have too much options. So I guess some things to talk about before we go into gear, the phase one and such. So obviously you want to keep your frenzy stacks up. It's the main part of this. I'm not using a natures because I want to be able to cast Grimoire in the later phases much easier. I am using one CTA and a Venom Dagger. The dagger's giving me Desecrate charges, so I can cast a Desecrate to do Grimoire in phase 1 because you don't have any bodies in phase 1, and then for phase 2 and 3 so you can get that initial body on the ground to have your first Grimoire up. So that's kind of the reason there. It's very helpful. You can do with natures, of course. It just means that in every 40 seconds or so in all three phases, you need to swap back to your CTA to cast a Desecrate, and then Grimoire, and then swap back. So it's definitely doable. There's just a few extra clicks. So it's just a bit easier on this side, I would say, to do it. I definitely could have a lot more health, and I definitely would have a lot more health if I made some changes in my gear and probably skill. I was just kind of testing damage and such, doing max damage AR charms, but really I think Warcry ones for damage with Grimoire. The damage is a bit more with a 10 max Grand Charm, but Grimoire's pretty close. Obviously a bit less, but then you'd also get the 1 to BO, so you get the extra life there. So easily you could be in like the 4.2k, 4.3k range with my gear without changing much. So I think I would definitely do that if I was doing this again, but I kind of wanted to see with its damage. So let's jump into phase 1 here. So we just got off our BOs here, then we're going to cast the initial Desecrate there. And your damage with throw is almost entirely dependent upon having a target to bounce. You see I'm able to bounce off the spear, which is great. I'm just getting my frenzy stacks up there. And I can bounce off there, so it kills them really quickly. If you don't have a second target to bounce off, your DPS is severely reduced, obviously, because less bounces that are going off. So you almost, if like Mendel's not even near somewhere like that you can actually get a bounce off of, it's not even worth really doing it. You just kind of wait it out. I took a lot of sludge hits there. I don't really know what that's all about. Not really a good excuse there. You see we're making some good damage here. Gonna get our frenzy stacks up again. And you can't hit a spire from his location here. So I just keep my stacks up, then get my Grimoire back up, and now that he's closer to a side, I can get my bounces off again. Again, I'm just gonna keep the frenzy stacks up. And since I have level 20 Grimoire, the radius of that is massive, that gets the whole arena, so I don't have to worry about getting, one on a certain side and, moving it around. I can just place it anywhere in here and I'll be safe. Again, you just want to make sure he teleports somewhere near here. I'm just tanking damage because, it's pretty safe. I have 90 cold res and I have a lot of pots, so I'm not too worried about it. So we're just going to antidote that P-Nova there, get up our Grimoire, get hit by that lovely Bale Nova. And here, I just love that ability. I think that's my least favorite part of Rathma is honestly that Nova. Like everything else I don't mind, like the big chunk damage or any other nonsense you get, but that Bale Nova is so just not fun to play. It's just, I don't know, I hate it, honestly. Since he's in a good spot, I decided not to fully fill up my belt because I know at this part here I can just fill up my belt because I'm not going to DPS him down. Apologize for that. Yeah, and then here he's in a good spot again, so we're just going to do our best, get our frenzy stacks up here. So the phase one isn't too bad, as you see. Like you can kind of over pot just every one spire, just kind of pot. You have a lot of extra pots, so you don't really have to worry about it too much, as long as you keep him, you know, just damage him when he's near a turret, and we can just finish the fight off of here. Just phase tank and finish the fight. It's good to just melee him here to get that frenzy stack, so you can get 25 seconds once you get into this phase. Not necessary, it's just nice not to have to, you know, redo that again. One of the biggest issues with throw, obviously, like I said before, I have some issues with this build because I went in with a low life option. I think it would be much better not to, but the other issue you have is really phase 2. When it's just Rathma out, there's no Conjuring Souls or Void Knights, your damage is really low. Takes forever for you to do anything, really, so there's some weird things you want to do about maybe keeping a Conjuring Soul alive so that he can teleport near it, and then you can get the bounces off to quickly DPS him down. But then, of course, you're going to have to deal with the ground fire, so that's a bit of a question about if you want to do that or not. But it's something to think about. You'll see the damage as I'm going through here. I think I'm just going to skip most of this here. I don't, not really much experience here, and I don't know. It's not too interesting. I don't think phase 2 is very hard. You just have to be a bit on top of things to make sure that you don't drop your frenzy too much, and that you don't, you know, waste damage so you run out of pots, because you're going to end up potting for mana, because you'll see here my damage is really low. You want to make sure you get some melees off. That was kind of not the greatest melee. That's some big leg. I'm getting a lot of leg spikes in this run. You saw me just teleport to him, which is not good. I also, like, my ping says 63, but it's really slow. I couldn't fill up my pots very quickly. Not sure what that's all about. I was just kind of dealing with it. Maybe some latency on my side. I don't think it was necessarily the server. So I only have about 10 seconds on my frenzy, so I want to get that up again. See, there's a knight or a Conjuring Soul down here, so I want to move so I get these bounces off, which are really nice. So that did some good chunk damage. And then now that the soul's dead, I can use that to get my Grimoire up, which is very nice. So now you can kind of just chain, as long as you phase him in the next 40 seconds, you can kind of just chain Grimoires now. And the nice thing about the knights, this was a pretty bad one because they all split apart right away, but you can just bounce off of all of them and kill them very quickly. And he's near a boss here, so that's quite nice here. It's good to try to break the cages with Frenzy. I have it on my left click just so I can, by movement, hit it as well in case, but I also have it quick cast. It's better to quick cast when you're wanting to hit the boss or something, because trying to click on them, you're most likely just going to run around them. So it's better just to quick cast it. I only have 3 seconds here, so that was a very close one. Here we go, I'm trying to get the bounce off again, and you see he dies quite quickly there. Now I'm kind of over potting here as well, because I know it's pretty safe, so since I have not the greatest Barb HP, it's just better to keep your health up. So I'm just going to try to get in a line here so I can get as many bounces off as possible. You don't want to face tank the physical knight, obviously. That's one that can kill you. And you see that was a really quick phase because they all stayed close together, so I was able to just you know, keep my attacks going, so I get a lot of bounces off there. Chain bounces off of all of them. So that's, you know, definitely helpful to have that. Now this looks bad because I only have 5 seconds left in my frenzy, but then he cages me, so that was kind of lucky. You should really hit him once and then go fill up your belt. So you have 25 seconds to fill up your belt and get back in again in case something comes up like a soul. See, the damage is okay on the souls. I have a lot of damage to undead and such, so it's a bit reasonable. Okay, I'm getting hit by a lot of damage here, so I'm just trying to move around. They're a bit split right now. They're close enough that I can get these off, which is okay. But you see, they're kind of split around. I want to kill this physical knight because he's the one that's going to kill me. The other ones can't really kill me. Yeah, so you can see the damage is quite good. I just wanted it over with, so I kind of went, you know, just tanked through my pots there. I'm going to try to bring him close to this knight. I mean, sorry, to this Conjuring Soul, so I can get some good bounces off, but he wasn't cooperating there. So, unfortunately, I'm just going to try to DPS him down. I don't have a Grimoire up. There we go. Get it back up. Grimoire's giving you massive damage and massive AR, which I'll show at the end. So it's, I mean, you can't really not use it. Again, we're just going to frenzy up there. So, you know, I used a lot of pots in phase 2, but it was kind of just to use them. So, again, I think I clearly have more than enough damage there. So dropping damage charms for more life is definitely the play. You know, there's some upgrades in like the amulet and such I could make to have even more health options. I'm also using a Gladiator's Bane, which, you know, it's nice because it cannot be frozen, PLR, crit chance, so those are all good. I theoretically could just use a crafted rare armor instead, and get a lot more life that way, and maybe it has ED rolls on it, which lets me deviate even more from the damage charms to do more life, but I like G-Bane. I think it's good. Now, obviously, Barb has, you know, crit mastery on the throwing weapon, which is pretty good. If you have some DS and such, you know, you can get some decent crit without needing the crit from G-Bane, but it's kind of just really nice free crit, which, you know, never hurts. Now, obviously, when you do this phase here, you want to keep, you know, a minion somewhat close to the portal so that you can get your frenzy stacks up to, you know, 25 in order to go into the next fight and give yourself some time before you have to stack up again. I am... Yeah, I guess I'll go ahead. So I'll explain that after. So in phase 3, it would be much better if I stayed a lot closer to Mendown the whole time and to avoid any sludges, and then just, you know, hugged him and kind of follow him around the arena and throw out my spears, but I don't really do that. I can't tell you why, so it's not really great play. Maybe I'll record another one later with doing proper play, but I was a bit distracted during this run, and I make a lot of critical errors, so you'll kind of see that here. I want to get this soul down, so that's kind of what I do there. I walked just out of space there to get hit by the sludge, which was really the worst thing to do because I was just trying to stay close to him there. A bit unlucky on the health that he spawned so many souls, but luckily the knights had a good spawn that I was able to kill 2 of them very quickly. But you see there, I'm just out of range on Rathma, Mendown, and he hit me with 3 sludges in a row. I really don't like when he does the chain sludges, but that's kind of my own fault that I wasn't just a little bit closer to avoid that damage. So that was a lot of wasted rejuves there that obviously could have been useful later. The nice thing is when both bosses are out, you have so much damage. I actually dropped my frenzy there, which was another miscalculation. So that's not ideal. Now, I guess I can talk about that. I am using a faster weapon here, so that, and with more IS than needed, so that I only need about half my frenzy stacks to actually reach full frames. So when I'm at full stacks, I'm getting an extra break point when I'm fully decrept. So that's kind of the idea there. So that was another good night round that they were all pretty close except for this Fizz guy. And obviously that's the worst one to have up, but that's kind of is what it is there. So I'm just going to get my belt fully done. I should be doing this near Mendown, of course. And again, I'm just outside of it. So I don't know. I really wanted this kill. I didn't think about playing better, I guess. So I'm a bit disappointed in that. But I think I wanted you guys to see. I don't think it's too interesting if I just do a perfect run and you see that. I think it's better to kind of see, you know, some mistakes and where you can optimize, right? So it doesn't just look like everything's clean and easy. So, and I will admit I'm not an expert on Barb either. Obviously I had a lot more clean runs, but this is what it is. So you really just want to keep your spears going in this phase. You can bounce them off the boss or a knight, anything. Just kind of keep them going to get those bounces off. And then try not to drop your decrep. And then watch your, you know, gotta watch your Grimboard to make sure it's up. So at this point I have my stacks. I need a Grimboard up, which is there. And I'm just trying to wait till they group. So I'm pretty confident with the number of pots left that I just, you know, I should just be standing near him. I'm confident because the damage against the two of them is just so much as long as they don't run away. So I'm just going to DPS them down. And Rathma's just dodging all of my attacks. I'm just missing everything, but there you go. So I wasted, you know, extra pots there at the end just face tanking, just to kind of, you know, it's safe. I mean, what's the point of saving rejuves? But definitely, if I played this better, that would have been a full belt. If I didn't get hit by every sludge he casted, so I would think about that if you're going to do that. Just kind of stay close to him when you can. And there's no real excuse not to. I mean, it's going to happen. You're going to have to move away because of some knights that are around. There's too many physical knights too close, or some, you know, souls are down you want to be careful about. So, yeah, but I'll go through the gear here. So, you know, it was a bit difficult finding such. So I do have to thank Mazak here from Barb Chat. He did lend me the one glaive. And I was looking for about a 500 max damage, which was totally doable for this fight. You don't need anything crazy, but he had a nice 560, which is still, you know, I've seen some 650s and some other huge ones, so, you know, it's still a very good glaive. It's hard to get really great ones, but I think if you aimed for a 500, then that's what you want to do here. That's all you really need for this fight. So he had a nice, you know, 560, which is really good. Yeah, and then so just a G-Bane, Max Coal with 2 Jaws, Max Poison with 2 Vexes there just to get 90, 90, 90. A decent amulet. I actually vialed and upped to this one the other day just because I kind of wanted that. But you see here I have way more IS than needed. I hit max frames with half frenzy up, some max damage there. And you see here I just have some pretty 8s and 9s on the charms and a bunch of good variety of small charms there. For skills, obviously double throw and frenzy we're maxing. I only have 1 point in the other synergy there for double swing since it's only 6%, but Grimward's actually 8% plus more AR per level, so you definitely want to max that first. And then I put a whole bunch of points into battle orders. I only have about like 2 or 3 points into throwing mastery. And you'll see here that's the change with Grimward, so it's just absolutely massive. So you can't really ignore Grimwards. You definitely want to do that. I think you could do a Natures as well if you get a bit used to it. Here's some other stuff I was messing around with. I think that glaive is also good enough, this 440, but a bit more is always nice. So I had a bunch of different charms and different things I could have used, but this is kind of where I settled. I really like the dagger for the offhand. I think overcapping is massive, so, you know, think about it. I'll link my armory, and any questions, let me know. All right, cheers everybody.